Devin happens to be a stand-up comedian, also a writer, and his brother, which is Brendan Monahan, he freelances for the Oregonian. And last week, that very day, he wrote an article in the Oregonian opposing Measure M, and he has some pretty interesting reasons why he feels that it shouldn't be legal, which I like to have hit that aspect explored. Brendan also does a radio show at Portland, Oregon State University at kpsu.org, and his show is called Right Jab. It covers politics, sports, and news from a conservative perspective. Also, we have Devin Monahan, who is his brother, who is a stand-up comedian, and he also wrote a little book, a little pamphlet of short stories and just kind of, I guess, basically short stories, and it's called Unmentionables. I want to read a little bit about Devin right now, which he puts on the back of his publication, which, by the way, he publishes himself. Devin Monahan is a 23-year-old writer, comedian, and entrepreneur. After attending University of Nebraska and Oregon University, Devin now studies at the Stanford of the West, that is Portland College community. Devin hopes that any copies of Unmentionables are passed among friends in a testament to the mortality of the publishing companies. I love that. Devin has voluptuous red locks, and if seen in real life, Devin, I put my glasses back on. I just went blind. The red locks part kind of got me. Devin has gorgeous red locks, and that's why he's on the show. Actually, is the hair. Devin has voluptuous red locks, and if seen in real life, Devin implores reader to avert eye contact. So I have to make sure that when I'm interviewing him that I don't look at him in the eye, because God knows what might happen. His comedy has 420 hits on YouTube, so please, eyes down. Also, a problem is nothing but an opportunity in disguise, so go forth and proclaim good news. So here's, there's been famous brothers throughout history. We've had Cain and Abel, George and Jeb, and Joel and Ethan Cohen, and now, today, later on, the Monahan brothers. All right. So and
hello.
Hello. We got
Brendan, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then we have Devin. Devin, there's the phone ringing. Pick it up.
Howdy.
Okay, there he goes. All right, so we got Devin. Just you know you're like kids. You have those cans when you're like, "Can you hear me now?" And they're like you can still hear them from anyway. So we have Devin Monahan and we have Brendan Monahan. They are, again, like I said, they are two brothers who grew up in the same household, but they do have different views on marijuana. And I want to focus on Brendan here for a moment. You're quite the guy. Now, how old are you?
27.
You're 27, so you're the older brother.
Yeah.
And you are, now again, like I gave your credits, but you freelance for the Oregonian, and you also do a radio show called Right Jab at Portland State University at kpsu.org. So how long have you been doing the radio gig?
Oh gosh, a couple of years.
Okay. So wow. Good for you. That's cool. And then, and the subject matter of marijuana. Now, was that something that you feel passionate about, or was it just like they just go, "Hey, Brendan, we want you to write something about like how you feel about marijuana"?
No, it was just something I came up with. I thought it was, a timely piece.
Well, it is a timely piece, and your argument, now correct me if I'm wrong, but from reading it, your main argument was that even if we did legalize it on the state, for our state, that the federal government would never allow it to be legal, therefore we would be in a constant legal battle against it with our money and our resources going to that particular reason. Am I correct in like assessing it that way?
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate.
Okay, Devin, do you have a comment that you want to say on that at all?
Well, I think that even the times in Little League that I knew that I was going to strike out, I still stepped up to the plate. And so, for example, if we know that we're going to lose the legal battle, you at least take the chance. And nobody knows if we actually will lose that on the federal level. But in terms of the federal government interfering with us, I don't see them being able to wage a battle against dispensaries in California and then against Oregonians, while also protecting the border. I just don't think they have those kind of resources.
No, apparently they do. I mean, there was a raid, I think, in Seattle just today where they shut down, I think, 23 medical dispensaries. There was another big one yesterday or 2 days ago in Houston. And I've seen no reason why that wouldn't stop, whether President Obama or Governor Romney wins re-election.
My question, Brendan, and this is the question I have about this particular reason. The reason why I became an advocate for marijuana is because of the fact that I saw how the federal government was coming in and basically, in my opinion, they're oppressing our state rights. I feel like I'm a person who went in, I voted for it, I voted for medical marijuana, and yet I have my own government telling me that this is something that can't be implemented on, and for reasons that they're not coming up for reasons that I'm buying why they're justified in doing what they're doing. And that's the part that makes me, I hate to say the word frightened, but I would say wary of that. I feel that the federal government is overstepping their bounds as to what America is really about in the first place. How do you feel about that thought?
Well, you're absolutely right, and I would prefer that either marijuana be removed as a Schedule I narcotic, or that the Controlled Substances Act be repealed, and that drug laws should be returned to the states. Absent of that, I don't really see any other recourse. The Supreme Court has made perfectly clear within the last, 7 years, that they have this power under the Commerce Clause to regulate and outright ban marijuana. I mentioned that court case in my article.
Yes, and that was the Angel Race case, was it? Gonzalez versus Angel Race, yes.
Yeah.
That particular, now, the thing about that particular ruling, there was a time where the Commerce Clause, it was not viewed in such a broad span as it is viewed now. There was a time where there was a smaller way that they viewed it, where it didn't have, where the federal government didn't have as much power over the trade that was happening between state and state, because basically we're talking about it being transported from one state to the next state, and that would be like an illegal, or there, I guess, is it, I'm trying to remember, does it have to do with taxes, or something with money going, the product going from another state?
Well, what you're referring to, I think, was a New Deal case regarding the growing of wheat for a farmer's own purpose, and they ruled that the Commerce Clause basically meant whatever Congress and the President at that time wanted it to mean. Whether that was correct or incorrect is the subject of much debate, but the Supreme Court, barring a reversal, and I don't really see any evidence of this, barring a reversal of that particular court case, whether it's right or wrong, it is precedent. And again, I don't really see that happening, at least not in the judicial branch. I believe for activists, the best course of action would be to try to get Congress to overturn this on their own, although good luck convincing either President Obama or President Romney to sign it. The only other way that I can imagine is somewhat similar to how Prohibition was overturned, and get a bunch of your friends in different states to call a constitutional convention.
Well, I mean, I've never heard that idea to be proposed before, which that's a different way of perhaps working on doing it.
The reason that's not really talked about that much is because with Prohibition, the politicians had the decency to change the Constitution with the amendment that prohibited alcohol. But with cannabis, they didn't do that. They used Congress to do it. They used Congress to say that the Commerce Clause outweighs the 10th Amendment that reserves rights to states or to people. Now, it's funny because the only thing that expands faster than our understanding of the universe are the ways that the Commerce Clause is applied. And one thing that passing Measure 80 would do in Oregon would help the economy, but more so it would send a message to national politicians that on a grassroots level, on a grassroots level, there is support here. And now politicians are going to be the last ones to react because they have to react to poll numbers, and that's it. So this will be the first step of many steps. And whether it works in the end or not, that's beside the point. But it's the best we can do right now, and it's a fantastic step forward.
I mean, it also helped. What ended Prohibition was that you had one party in the election of 1932 that was running on an explicitly wet repeal Prohibition platform. So that was another major way that they were able to do that. There seems to be a bipartisan consensus, certainly at least on the federal level, that there should be no change to the war on drugs.
One thing that I'm concerned about, and a lot of people, if we change it on the federal level and we take it off of the, or drop it down from a class 1 to a class 3, then that is going to put the drug in the hands of the FDA, or it's going to go right into the pharmaceutical companies, and it won't be able to be grown naturally and used the way it is right now. So a lot of people feel that if we were to like legalize it on the state level, tax it like beer and wine, then we'd have a better shot of keeping the plant organic. One thing that I like about Oregon's measure is it also talks about hemp, and it's the same thing with the Jack Hare Hemp and Health Initiative, which didn't make it on the ballot for this year, but they're still working on doing it for 2014. But it would legalize industrial hemp, and I feel that that's one thing that we forget to focus on, because that is the real root of what this is all about. If we legalize hemp, then it would take out a lot of different things, like even gasoline. I mean, it would replace all kinds of industries, or at least give another option. And I really feel that the corporations that want to keep a hold on those on that commerce is the real reason why they won't allow this plant to be legal. And I feel that they give a lot of stuff like, oh, it's a gateway drug, and oh, people are getting high, and oh, this is like an irrational thing. It's a drug. It's a drug. It's a drug, and focusing on the drug aspect as a smoke screen to the fact that there's some really rich cronies out there that don't really want to lose any money. Any thoughts on that?
Was that a question?
It's basically a statement. So, we do have a couple of minutes to wrap up. Where can people find you, Brendan, and follow you? And also, what do you have any goals for your future?
Well, I'm on Facebook. I pretty much live there. I know that you tagged my brother in the link and so forth, so you can find me through there. My column appears every other Thursday in the Oregonian in the Metro section. I can promise you that they won't all be on marijuana, so I don't know if that would attract or contract my audience, but every other Thursday is where you can find me, and my show, Right Jab, which is also not exclusively focused on marijuana, but pretty much anything of news or politics or sports oriented, is every Friday from 1 to 2 at kpsu.org, and that's Pacific time.
Thank you so much. Also, Rupert Declo, our producer, he put up your pictures and stuff like that. There's a picture of Newt Gingrich and you. Can you give us a little bit of background on that?
Yes, I was at the Conservative Political Action Conference, CPAC, twice when I went to school at The Ohio State University, and he was a featured speaker both times. I got a signed copy of his book, or one of his books, Winning the Future. That being said, his stock has dropped rather drastically, at least in my eyes, since then. But up until that point, he had a brilliant career.
Well, we like the picture, and so thanks for letting us know, and thank you for calling into the show as well. And I wish you well. You sound like a bright man, young man. Good luck to you.
Thank you for having me. Thanks for having me.
Thanks.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. That was Brent.
With calling in, and we had Devin Monahan arguing their different points on Measure 80, and we will take a quick break. We're going to be right back with Shiloh Jinglefoot with G-Licious Dishes to give us a cannabis recipe to end the day out. Stay tuned.